Hey Chicago, it's about August 3rd here at 8:30 or so in the morning, and I said on my last video about a month ago that I would give an update on my garden in a month. So it's been about a month, almost exactly a month. It's, like I said, August, it's tomato time, and some of the other things are changing and growing in the garden, so I wanted to share with you some of the changes that have happened over the last 30 days or so. So let me continue with my little tour here, kind of giving you an update. First thing here again is my broccoli plant. I had said last time that it was going to seed, and as you can see, it's actually started going to seed. I can kind of show you maybe up close some of these little seedlings. They're just starting. Haven't put out the full pods yet, but I will be harvesting those and planting them soon, as well as maybe if they don't come in soon, maybe planting some additional broccoli just so that it would continue to grow, and I'll have a nice October, November harvest here. You know, once the weather turns a bit and everything else starts to die in the garden. Next door I actually have the Brussels sprout plants, which I talked about before, and since last time I actually did a little bit of research and found out that the broccoli, or the Brussels sprout plant I should say, right in the middle there is where all of the little pods start to grow on the sprout plant. So that's something new that I've learned, and looking forward to those coming in. I don't know if what I'm seeing in there is the start of what will eventually become the little sprouts, or what, but you know, I'm hoping that those start to come in soon. Obviously the weather in another month or so will start to turn a little bit cooler, and I don't know if that's when they'll come in or when not, but obviously when I planted these I was hoping I would get a harvest prior to fall, but maybe it just so happens that the plants won't actually start to harvest until later in the fall. So something that I'm learning, obviously, with my first plant here. And as I pan around, you'll notice I've got some additional plants. Obviously the stems are getting quite larger, and again lots of leaf segments, so hopefully have a nice broccoli harvest, maybe for Thanksgiving this year, maybe for something else. So looking forward to that, definitely. Also as well, here I have some more broccoli, or I should say Brussels sprout plants again, but everything's going well. These are looking very healthy, but again hoping to have a nice harvest coming up here soon. Still have my lettuce patch. I do tend to like certain varieties of lettuce more than others. I would say that as far as lettuce goes, I prefer the leaf lettuce varieties over the butter crunch or crisp head varieties. So, you know, the heading varieties of lettuce, I tend to prefer the leafing varieties a little bit more. I think it's just a little bit more tender. I like the texture of them a little bit more, so I tend to go with those varieties. And the kale is just kind of exploding at this point. You know, the heat, I think it gets a little bit more shade in this area of the garden, so I don't think it's bothered by the heat all that much. And you can see it's doing very well. And the chard that I had over here is continuing to do well as well. So I haven't planted any new. I think I said I would last time, but you know, haven't planted anything new so far. But the small number of plants that I do have are continuing to produce. And I think I actually forgot to share this the last time I took a little video of my garden, but I have lavender growing here, and looks like a couple plants of lavender, but this is something new that I really like, and I tend to like the flavor. Adding things like lemonade or other types of things. I don't know when they're going to be flowering out and producing those nice purple flowers, but hopefully that'll happen soon. Sorry for being a little bit... the camera's moving on me quite a bit. There's mosquitoes chasing me everywhere. I'm trying to slap them away and keep this steady as I can. But again, here's some more lettuce. And then last time this was a big empty area of the garden. I've gone ahead and sprinkled some of the broccoli rabe or kale seeds that rapini seeds that I had before. And as you can see, it looks like I've done a pretty good job of covering the area as the growth is coming through quite a bit. More lettuce over here. And then let me switch over to the next row. Here's my strawberries, and last time I was having some animal issues with my strawberries, and actually the animals have turned into a bigger problem than what I anticipated with just the strawberries. They've started to attack my garden, so to speak. I can show you some of the damage as I get around here, but anyway, the strawberries are doing quite well. As you can see, I have some little red strawberries. in various areas of the garden here. And man, these mosquitoes are terrible. So I'll probably be harvesting these just in a bit here to kind of snack on. You can see here, there is one. They're little tiny strawberries, almost called like a wild strawberry. Yeah, very good, very sweet. Nice little snack here. As I move up, you can actually see here's my celery. The celery is doing very well. I had some damage to some of my celery plants earlier this year. A few weeks back, again, I think it was a raccoon that came in and kind of sat right in this area. You can see the bare spot. It sort of tore open some of the celery that I had, and as a result I had to pick some of the leaves, but I'm getting a lot of new growth down in there, so I'm not too worried about the plants in general. And then over here I had some cauliflower, and as I mentioned, it's purple cauliflower, so I was worried about the ones that I had here not, as I say, heading out. You can see that they are starting to head out. I don't know why the heads are look the way they do. They don't look all that appetizing and together, but nonetheless it is cauliflower, and I've got one here actually that looks a little bit better. So nice purple head of cauliflower, and I'll probably be harvesting that today to eat tonight, and have a nice dinner with that cauliflower. So next door I actually used to have garlic. So garlic was actually here, and I harvested that right after my last video, right around the I think it was the 10th of July, so about a week and a half later than the last year, probably due to the cooler weather, or not having those warm 80-degree days in March. But I went ahead and harvested it, and then after harvesting I went and added in a lot of things into the soil. So some compost, some coconut coir, and some other peat moss, and other things that just in general were going to improve the soil. And then I went and planted a bunch of beans, bush beans, purple ones, green ones, yellow wax beans. So a bunch of different beans in the area, and those are all growing. Obviously no flowers yet, but plants are doing well, and looking forward to that type of a harvest. Next door, beyond that, I do have some potatoes that I went and had planted in the area. I did this last year with my garlic. I planted potatoes after, and they did pretty well. I have had some digging here, again maybe by a raccoon. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see there's a little depression here in the soil. Anyway, the potatoes are doing well, they're growing, but I think some of them might have been dug up and eaten, or just not producing shoots at this point. So I don't know how much potatoes I'm gonna get, but again, looking forward to my potato harvest. And then as far as garlic goes, I may be planting that garlic here or back in the section I planted last year, which was over in that previous row where the broccoli and the Brussels sprouts are. But again, that's what I'll look forward to, planting the garlic again around mid-October. So another 2.5 months or so is when I'll be busting up some of those heads that I harvested for garlic and putting them in the ground. So that's what I have here. Next is the tomatoes. So as you can see some green, some red, some orange, a bunch of color variations in the tomatoes, and the plants are doing well. I think in general, you can see some of actually there's one on the ground down there I'll probably pick up, but the green zebras are starting to turn. There's a couple that can probably pick it up. They're a little bit more yellow, I would say, a little more yellow-green than straight green, so obviously those are ripe, ready to harvest, and I'll be picking those today. One of the things that I wanted to bring to your attention the most is actually, let me get around this plant. So I've had a raccoon or something come in and through all of my plants here just kind of dig through all of the roots, and it's kind of hard to see very well, but as a result of that, a lot of these plants I think are under a tremendous amount of stress. I'm trying to trap the animal, see if we can maybe bring it somewhere else, maybe to a forest preserve or something else, but right now the animal is in strong search of, big weed there, in strong search of worms, I think is what it's after. And as a result of that, it's doing incredible amount of damage to my plants by just simply under digging all of these plants and exposing the roots, and just in general not doing any favors to my garden. So but let me come up back here and I'll show you again a lot of the the growth of the tomatoes. Lots of ripe ones. These are some cherry or grape varieties of tomatoes, and then I've got some bigger ones down here. I can actually try to find someone. So here's some yellow. These are actually called yellow Raisentraub tomatoes. Some of my favorites actually from a grape perspective or cherry perspective. They have really nice flavor. In fact, let me go in here and try to grab one. So I like the color, I like the flavor, and I like to eat them when I'm right here in the garden. So, very good. But let me see if I can find some other tomatoes. Here's some. These look a little bit more yellow. I don't know what variety these are called, but I'll be harvesting those today. Here's another one. It looks like a black from Tula, and I think the way I can differentiate between the black from Tula varieties and the Cherokee purple varieties, Cherokee purples look more, I guess I would say oval shaped, whereas the black from Tulas look more circular shaped. So another variety that I'm looking forward to harvesting right there. Let's see if I can find some more. Again, just tons of tomatoes here. I wish the damage at the bottom by the roots was not as big as it was, because I think it definitely puts a lot of stress on these plants and puts them in a position where they're not very happy. Here's some, I think these are chocolate cherry tomatoes. So I've gone ahead and saved the seeds. I bought these plants this year at the farmer's market, and I'm already saved the seeds for next year. I really like this cherry variety. I'm kind of a big fan of growing a lot of cherry varieties. I think they tend to do better. No cracking, obviously, with the tomatoes themselves being either too watered too heavily, or watered not enough. So I'm a big fan of these cherry tomatoes. They really work well, if not nothing else than snacking here in the garden. So, and then next door I've got, I think these are jewel varieties. I like these a lot. Again, I saved the seeds from the farmer's market last year, and I planted them out. They're doing really well. It's almost, I would say, similar to a paste style tomato. So those of you familiar with canning and other things like that, saving those tomatoes, they work. They almost look like a little. Let me get another close-up of that one. They almost look like a little paste tomato. And for that purpose alone, I might be growing a lot more of these, and maybe even try canning next year by growing a few more of these plants. So really, really happy with the way that's working out. Next door here, I actually had another variety of tomato. It was called Silvery Fir. It was, it's a little bit different of a plant, and it's not doing well. It's actually dying. It's basically on its way out here. You can see one of the tomatoes that it tried putting out. Some of the others were on the ground. I pulled them already, but the plant is just not doing well. It looked neat. I tried to grow it last year, and the same thing happened. So being stubborn, I tried to grow it again, and the same thing happened. So as you know, space limited in the garden, so I will not be planting this variety, even though I like the look of it. It was more bush-like, more tree-like than tomato plant-like, and was hoping I would be able to do something fun with that. But 2 years, no success. So I'll be using the tomato space for something else. And then the next door here, I also have another. These are called Henderson's Pink Ponderosa tomatoes. Let me stand on the end here, and they're not doing well either. So I don't know. I don't know what the challenge is. You see a lot of dead leaves here, just a lot of bad growth. So I don't know if there's maybe something like a disease or something in the garden here that might not be elsewhere. But I'll have to look into what's going on. I don't know if it's not enough sun or whatnot, but hoping to figure out whatever's going on there so I can prevent it from happening next year. And as I take a quick look up, you can see how I mentioned before that I've been using that new method of basically staking my tomato plants properly, or using that cage on top of a cage solution with the zip ties to hold the plants upright and keep them from toppling over. Well, as you can see, I didn't have enough to do that with all of my tomato cages, so they toppled over. And in toppling over, two problems really arise from that. Number one is not enough shade. So you can see how they tend to fall into each other, and it kind of shades out the area, but also it makes it difficult to walk through. and the plants obviously don't like being toppled over, don't like that happening to them. So I'll have to be more careful next year and make sure I get enough tomato cages so that I can stake them upright and prevent this type of thing from happening. But the good news, at least in this area of the garden, is you can see my shishito peppers are coming in quite a bit. I have a lot of shishito pepper growth in here. I really like these. You can almost snack on them right out of the garden. They're a little bit spicy, but have a really nice flavor. I bought both of these plants at the farmer's market this year, and I'll be definitely saving seeds and trying these again next year. And then right down next to there below, you can see, if I can get in there good enough, you can see a nice eggplant, I'm growing. I harvested a few of these last week. I'll be harvesting this one again next week. I think this is my only one left on here, so hopefully I get some more growth. But quite a few eggplant. I really like the look of them. It's a pretty neat plant. And then again,